Hello and Happy New Year, and welcome to Moving
Happy New
Forward
Year.
to 2021, open roundtable discussion on experiences from implementing tips from the 2020 workshops. I am Allison Norfleet Bringer, and helping out this morning is Kim Carr and Wanda Tyner. And usually I go through little housekeeping, please stay mute. This is not a mute time. This time, leave it open. It's open discussion. We love to hear what has been going on, how things have gone from 20 to 2021, and what you're looking forward to. So I open this up to everyone. So welcome.
Welcome. Hi.
Hi. Hello again.
Hi.
Morning.
All righty.
Anybody, last year we covered a lot of basics, how to get a Facebook page started, Instagram started and stuff like that. I think everybody here is pretty well versed in that. And so we just want to know, is there anything that you're struggling with, that you're working on, that you need help with? And like Allison said, what kind of things did you implement in 2020 that seemed to be working for you or didn't work? We just want to kind of get things out there and see how we can help you guys and make 2021 a great year for all of us, because we know 2020 had its challenges. And so I think everybody is starting to realize that the world has kind of been reinvented, and we're having to reinvent ourselves and learn to market differently and stuff. So the floor is open. Anybody have anything they want to toss out there and share with the group?
Yeah, why don't we start with, what did you implement anything from all the workshops in 2020 that you want to share, good or bad?
Well, I implemented a few things in 2020, but I also took basically the year off. I ended up moving, as everybody knows, and then I ended up moving my mother, which was a whole new realm of, are you kidding me, 2020? But in the middle of all of that, I did have a couple of months empty where I was COVID was rampant, and so all of my shows were canceling, and I did the Shopify. But actually right before that, here I did a Facebook challenge on branding. And what it actually turned out to be was more of looking at your values and how do you represent that in your company. And I'm telling you, it completely shifted my company. I actually shifted my entire company, changed because of that. And it all made more sense for me. With me, I've actually always struggled because I'm kind of an artist by happenstance. I didn't go into art. It's not my world. Retail is not my world. Everything's not my world. So when everybody would say, be authentic in your Facebook, be authentic in this and that and this, it was easy to be authentic when somebody walked into my booth and I wanted to sell them something. But online and in Facebook, and it was just, for me, it was a total disconnect. And going through the challenge, it was game changer for me, because they said day one was identifying, what do you value? What are your values? What is important to you to represent yourself to others? And so, it's like, quality of things and, faith-filled and all this other stuff. And it was like, hey, that's great. Day two, where do you show that in your company policies? Where do you show that through your company values? How do I see that in your company? Because you're not just an artist, you're not just a maker, you're not just an author, you're not just you're a company. So how does your company show that? And is that really what you want to be doing? And it was game changer for me, because the things that I had been wanting to do, I had been wanting to be focused more on my Christian faith and being a Christian artist. And I always felt this huge disconnect, because that's not what, it's like I have two completely different lines. And, you can't, I don't know, it was always just a disconnect for me. But going through that process was, what are your values? What's important to you? And how do you show that? Is it in your values? And so then the next thing was, okay, what are your values? Write them out. What are your values? How do you show that in your company, in what you do? Why is it important to you? And so I went through a whole new vamp and actually have it written out on it's on my Facebook page, and it's on my website. These are my values.
Can you give us your website?
I got
Yeah,
it.
Candace, so we can take a look at it?
Yeah, from mybasket.com.
Type it in the chat.
On my
Oh,
basket.
Your
that
chat
would
feature.
really help, wouldn't it?
I just pulled it up. It's from mybasket.com.
Okay. Thank you.
And I see exactly what you're saying there, Ken.
For those of you that don't know, Candace is a fiber artist, and she's recently moved to Texas.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah, and I'm sorry, let me pull it up. I should have done that before I even started speaking. But just going through that whole process of stepping out of what I do to who I am and how I represent that in my company was game changer for me. And this is that same lady, Kim, Rachel Leakey, and I accidentally got on this 5-day challenge, and it was free at the time, and she was doing it actually as a beta test, because she's actually a corporate person that goes around to big major corporations and helps them to rebrand and rethink. And she just kind of did this on a whim. And so I've asked constantly, when you doing it again? Because it was game changer for me.
so you've added a statement at the top of your website. So when
Yeah,
people
I
first
have-
log on to your website,
have
that's
on
the
my-
first thing they see, basically.
Yeah. When you first log on, it has, meet the artist. And in there, I actually have 4 different things. I have the fiber artist. Oh, you're right there. I have the fiber artist, meet me. And this one I broke down, and I'm actually just answering questions. I'm a fiber artist. I'm a Christian. I'm a silk artist. I'm dedicated to my skills. I'm passionate about my collections. I'm a small business entrepreneur, and kind of breaking that down. And that goes against, it's like, if you go to most people's sites, artist sites, they have, the 2 paragraphs about them, and that's all you'll find. What are my guiding values? These are my guiding values. This is what guides me as a person. And then demonstrating my values. This is how I demonstrate my values. And some of them, when it got to the point of, okay, these are your values, how do you demonstrate that? I was finally able to put into writing, well, I value quality, and I do, constant learning. So, I mean, it was a way for me to make sure that whoever gets on my site understands that, it's a process. It's not just a make and take kind of thing. But that I'm conscious. And then I actually
one thing that I noticed, Candace.
Yeah.
Well, what I think you've done here is you've helped bridge the gap because like you said, at an art show, you know, your customer comes up and you're talking face to face and connect with that individual.
Yeah.
And like you said, when we take our business online, we lose that one-on-one connection.
Yeah.
And I know that with Best Missouri Hands, I go to people's websites all the time to try to promote them on Best Missouri Hands. And I will have to search like the Dickens to find anything about that artist. It's just buy my art. They don't tell anything about themselves. And you know, so what you've done here is you've helped bridge that gap, and you've done it in a nice, you kind of gave like bulletin points and stuff, so it makes it easy to read.
Yeah.
You know, you don't feel overwhelmed. So I think you've done a nice job. Very nice. And I love your color. I love your color scheme.
Yeah.
I like that color scheme.
So good job.
It was really eye-opening. And I've asked the gal that does the because oddly enough, there were like 100 people. Well, there was 200, a little over 200 people that did the challenge, and 100 of us just were extremely active in the group, in reading each other's stuff and commenting on, you know, diving deep into the answers and stuff. And so they actually decided to continue the group. And every, you know, once in a while she'll pop on, but it's really, you know, the group members kind of keeping it going. And so we've asked, you know, are you doing this again? And part of the things that I popped off to the admin of the group is, you know, hey, if she's going to do another group, before she does this major launch, if she wants to come on, I have an entire association, you know, and if she would like to, you know, do a 30-minute promo training to encourage people to take her challenge, we love, you know, something like that. Because the information and just the way that she phrased things got me in sync with who I am as an artist, who I am as a person, who am I as a company, and how do I want to promote that out? Which it forced me to look at my Facebook page. And my Facebook page is not the same. So, I mean, I loaded some stuff on there, but now that my mom's all settled in and stuff, I'm actually going to be starting a Facebook group that will be called From My Basket of Faith. And that's where I'm basically going to create my following on my Christian line and my different programs, ministry programs, and all that stuff. But it makes me feel, in my wholesale, but it makes me feel more true to myself, just going through that process. I mean, even if you don't put that stuff out there, just being able to go through the process so you can state in writing and clearly, this is what I value, and this is actually how I show up and do that. It was
well, and it looks like you're doing a great job. Yeah. And so you brought up that you're, you know, working on your Facebook too. So being cohesive with your story and putting it out there, I think is key, because I noticed, you know, some folks might have something on the Best Missouri Hands page, but they don't have anything in their About section on their Facebook, or vice versa. And so getting that information into all your channels so that no matter how somebody finds you and views your work and stuff, that story is there, you know, for them to be able to connect and stuff. So I think you've done a great job.
Thank you.
Anyone else have something they want to share? Thank you, Candace.
Ellison did so great
Natalia,
job.
what are you up to?
I'm just kind of listening to Candace and thinking, wow, she's so advanced. So I have completely kind of different approach and everything. For me, it's not like a company. It's not like something. It's more like a hobby. And Candace definitely did very, very good job when she asked, you need to understand what is your goal. And of course, I know that for many of us, the goal is just to establish your companies, to establish your kind of goal, to do the job and everything. I'm kind of a little bit different. I would like to make people happy, and I do everything just to do for them. Sometimes I even can give them for free, especially if they need something very, very much. So I'm not kind of, I had a website before, but it didn't work for me. So I just read the website. And now basically I am more on Facebook. And last time I already told that Instagram doesn't work for me very, very much. Facebook much, much better, because that's what I kind of post on Facebook. And after that, I did link on Etsy. And I would like to tell you that this year, I did a little bit more explore for myself Etsy store. And interestingly enough, that it started to work for me somehow this year. So, but basically, Etsy requires a lot of time because you need to prepare, you need to kind of describe each piece. You need to describe, you need to do photos, sometimes different photos, like 5 or 6 or something from different angles. It takes time, I can tell you. And moreover, Etsy, it's more like what people in demand. You just do for them, not what you like artists. Oh, I would like this one, like I did before. And I did on shows and share with people. So online, it's completely different story for me right now, because I'm doing everything what people need. For example, like Wanda wants this pocketed scarf because because it's more COVID stuff, you know. Hats and all other stuff. So I did very, very nice job with this Ruth Ginsburg colors.
Yeah.
It happened when she died. I was actually on the show that time. It was September. And when I returned home, and I was kind of so overwhelmed that I immediately did this and this kind of color. And I cannot say that I am crochet girl. I'm more in knitting, but somehow it jumps from me. I don't know why. So I did it, and it was sold immediately. I put it on Etsy. It was sold immediately. And after that, I start to sell it. Actually, this is already price, which I discounted. Before I sell them, oh my gosh, for $65. It was a
Well,
lot.
that's what I was gonna, but Natalia, your your price on these seems awful cheap to me
Cheap.
for the amount of work that you've put in.
Cheap right
why
now.
do you, I think the $65 sounds much better.
Yeah,
You
I can
know,
tell
that
you.
for, look at the amount of work you've put into those.
Yes, I can explain you, Kim. At first, of course, I put it $65 and it was okay, and people buy it. After that, I can tell you that I was the first who kind of did this. I don't know why. I did it very, very quick. After that, of course, people saw this on Etsy, and this is again not advantages but disadvantages.
Mhm.
People can see, people can do the same immediately, especially if it's so simple, you know. And they kind of they do the same. The competition was really, really high, so that's why I already kind of put it. I did them a lot, so I have them in stock. So let it go. That's how I kind of did with Etsy. And I would like to say that Etsy, it's not for artistic people, I think, because artistic pieces just sitting. Competition is really, really huge. That's why, oh, this, I'm doing again something with crocheting, something for summer, definitely, over swimsuit.
Ooh.
That's for sure, because this time of the year, we'll always go to some warm places. And I really, really miss this year. So that's what I'm doing over the swimsuit. But talking again
Natalia?
about, yeah.
Natalia, now do you have a Facebook shop?
No, I don't. I don't. And I can
I
explain.
think that's where because I closed my Etsy shop too. I had tried that world too, and it isn't for the artist because when the guy who runs it is actually used to run eBay.
Mhm.
Oh.
And so when that shift occurred, what was that? Like what, 15 years ago? 12 years ago, 15 years ago, when he took over Etsy, then it shifted from individual handmade unique stuff to this mass production kind of stuff, and all the artists kind of got pushed out. But the concept of the Facebook shop, because then when you're getting your Facebook people, you've got your shop right there, and there's not that enormous amount of fees and all that SEO work and the 20 different pictures of it and all that other crap. It's a smaller workload for it,
Yeah.
because that was one thing that I was thinking about adding as well, because mine is just a Shopify site.
Yeah, I thought about that. And when you do the Facebook stuff, you need to put all your financial information, account information, and everything. I'm not sure that I can trust Facebook with this kind of stuff, frankly. Definitely, I kind of would like to avoid that. That's why, see, I have this kind of link to Etsy, because if people would like something, they can call me, or they can message me, or they can go directly to Etsy and see what I have in there. And I would like to say that speaking about artsy stuff in Etsy, it's changed dramatically right now in comparison with it was before. Because right now, all these people involved who do some kind of information on T-shirts and everything, it's more mass production, I would say. So not more handmade stuff. So I don't know what to say, but at least it's something, some platform for me, which works this year. Because if we start shows new year, it will be again the same like it was before.
I'm just curious because I'm listening to both of you.
Wow.
Have you noticed? But their marketing though, it was really interesting, especially during this holiday season. It seemed like everything is from the maker's hands to your door. And I was just curious, did anybody that you guys are like, no, I'm only doing so much with Etsy, and Etsy has changed. But it's interesting that gentleman, whoever you said took over 15 years ago, he's definitely like,
but
you try to market it like it's makers. So I was really interested.
but
Makers,
Yeah,
not
but they
artists,
have a huge-
makers. Yeah,
they
I
have a
agree
huge,
totally.
yeah, and the marketing right now, because each maker you get charged for that. This global marketing and this Google marketing, and you see all this now when you come up in Pinterest and it says Etsy, you get charged for that. So if somebody clicks on a picture that goes to Etsy, and it may be my picture, but it goes to Etsy, may or may not go to my shop, and then it goes to another shop, and then it gets in. If that person buys anything, Etsy will take a 15% cut for marketing. And they get to choose what picture they do or do not use. And it's a forced program. So anybody who makes $10,000 or more a year automatically is in it, whether you want to or not. And then if you're less than 10,000, you could opt out. And then you would just pay an individual fee if it happens. But what the big complaint was is, somebody comes in and looks at my picture, goes to my shop, and then ends up going to another shop or another shop, because down at the bottom it still says like
Similar
items.
items,
And then I
similar
shop
items.
at
Yep.
somebody else's shop, and then I go to somebody else's shop. I get charged because they came in to Etsy off of me.
You're the portal.
Wow.
I'm the
Yeah.
portal link. So the huge, huge problems. But yeah, so Etsy is now all of a sudden marketing everything like crazy because they're getting a fee off of that. They figured out how
Oh.
Yeah, yeah,
off
yeah.
of the artist.
They do. They do.
So yeah, it is big.
Yeah, I have an Etsy shop,
And
nothing
that's
in
why
it.
if you look at a lot of artists, they'll have
Me
maybe
too.
15, 20 items on their site. And in the pictures of the products, they'll say, go to I have more items on my website. Go to my website.
Oh.
And they're siphoning off the people from that because they, the fees are just atrocious.
Gotcha.
It started, and especially when they begin to advertise on Google. And like I explained, Kim, last time, that usually it's kind of around $20, 20% kind of out from your income. When they would like to advertise on Google, it is even more. And so, yeah, they do money. Everybody doing money, guys. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, that's what it is.
Thank you for the insight.
Yeah.
How about you, Julie? You're doing a complete
Well,
transition.
something that I,
Go ahead, Kim.
no, go ahead, Julie. I'll bring it up
Okay.
later.
Well, no, I mean, that's what were you asking me, Wanda? I'm sorry.
I just wondered what you implemented in 2020. I know you made a big transition from pottery to focusing on painting and photography.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I'm just trying to muddle my way through it. I've been having, my biggest problem is, I have my artist page and I don't have a website. And I have my artist page and my personal page on Facebook. And that's where the personal page is where I normally sold everything. And I still do. I ended up selling after the last time I was at one of your meetings. Somehow a portal opened and I sold a bunch of paintings and then it slept off again. But the problem I'm having is with my artist page, Facebook page, people just don't, I've got quite a few followers, but there is no response on anything that I post there. It's all in my Facebook page, my personal page, where I get my response. That's where people look at it. I don't hardly have anybody look at it in the artist page. And I tried doing ads and, to try to drive more people to there. But I get more response and feedback and sales still from my personal page. And I don't know how to transition.
Because people
will do it.
get your stuff off the personal page, but your business page, Facebook decides who gets the post or not. It is.
Do what now, Wanda?
When it's your personal, if your people are friends with you, it shows in their feed. Even if they're following your business page, Facebook decides who gets your post. And based on how many reactions and likes and comments, they'll push it out to more people. But Facebook decides who sees your business post. So
Well,
and I know because I've talked to people who, like my page, follow my business page, and also on my personal page. And they will tell me more often than not, the only time they see my post is if I share it from my business page to my personal page.
Well, and that's what I've been doing is I've been sharing it over to the personal, and that's where I get all my response. And that's where in the past with the pottery, that's where I got my sales from. And so I was trying to work on the artist page to kind of get it veered off into that. I just don't like the business page that much because you just don't get the feedback. You don't know how many people are looking at it really, and all that kind of stuff. But I've been struggling
in the business page, you should be able to look at insights. Have you looked at the insights?
Yeah. Yeah, I look at that and there's just hardly anybody that's on there. I mean, I may on my business page, like Kim's got it on there, and if you look at the bottom, it'll, it should show, it shows like, yeah, 4 likes and 3 shares, to where I end up with a whole lot more on my personal page, because like you said, anybody that's on my personal page is actually people that purchase from me.
Okay.
And so I'm finding my personal page is a whole lot better, because they're getting to see it, and and they're buying from that. So I'm almost ready to just dump my.
Well, I
My
would
daughter's
encourage you. I would
Huh?
encourage you, Julie, though, even though you're not getting the same traffic. It's the same with mine. I get way more engagement on my personal page than I do my business page. Do not give up that business page.
Right.
Keep posting it to it, and then share it over to your personal page, because with your personal page, you're being selective about who you accept as a friend. Where your business page, anybody who likes your work, who has seen it somewhere, could go to it and like your page and follow you, and you're not worried about them seeing your personal information, because it's totally separate. Plus,
Right.
too, with a business page, I can easily like that and share it over to Best Missouri Hands, where I can't necessarily do that on a personal page. Sometimes people's personal page, the privacy settings are so that I can't share it over. And
Okay.
and you want people to share your work. And so with having that business page, people are easily able to share your work. Maybe a gallery that you're going to have an exhibit in, they can easily go to your business page and share your pieces over to their page. A show that you're going to be in, something like that. So don't give up on that business page.
Okay.
Do not give up on it.
Okay.
You might consider actually putting a shop on your business page.
Wanda, I have a
I don't understand all that.
that's
stuff.
what I was
Somebody's
going to ask you, Wanda, because I've seen
Go ahead.
Yeah, Wanda, what's something, because I seen, Wanda, you've had some prices show up on your stuff. Is that on your business page or on your personal page?
I think it shows up.
I've
on
seen that,
both.
like if you hover over, you'll see a price.
Oh, wow.
Showing up on both, but
Okay, let me go to
I
your
just-
business page.
I've done a lot in 2020. I've done not near enough, but recently I finally got myself in getting some of it done instead of analyzing things to death. One of the things I've done is I've started a new website. I shut down my old website. It's my new website, Shopify. It integrates with Facebook and Instagram. So you can tag you can essentially put your whole product base or just what products you want over in Facebook or Instagram. And when you post, you can tag the products.
Oh, how do you do that? Miss Wanda, you and I need to connect.
Yeah, I like to see that too. Because I
Yeah.
started my Shopify the same way.
Need to
You
watch
and
a
I
whole
need
bunch.
to
Need to watch a
connect
whole
on
bunch. You need to do a whole lot of Googling.
Yeah, you need to tell us how you did that
Yeah,
on
that,
yours.
that's
And
work.
I like it.
Shopify.
Well,
So is this off of Shopify that goes and transfers onto your
And
page?
so over here, you've got a shop.
It's twofold. So
Okay.
there's a whole lot of settings and integration you do with Shopify and Facebook. So for me, the benefit of that is when somebody actually says, I want to buy that product on Facebook, it takes them to my website. I get all their information and I fulfill it. You can set it up where they buy it on Facebook. I don't know why anybody would do that. So you can set up a shop on Facebook without Shopify. So don't get me wrong, but Shopify, since I have a website,
Yeah.
I can actually go out and choose what products I want to be in a Facebook shop, and they just show up in the shop. Same with Instagram.
Oh,
What I've been
Oh, I love that.
yeah,
I
but
saw
what I've
that. I
also
never
been
knew
doing,
what to
what
do
I've
with it.
also been doing is we lost Kim. What I've also been doing is when I make a post, I go tag the product, which then finds it in that Facebook shop. I can tag that product, and that's what she's seeing where it's hovering over with the price. And I'll
Oh,
tell you what, I just did it. I just decided I was going to figure it out, and I put it out there. I had no idea how it was going to work, and it takes a little bit to figure out what settings to set and get the integration to work between the Shopify website and Facebook. But once you do that, then so what happened was I did that and I went back to a bunch of my previous posts and just tagged those previous posts. So I probably tagged a dozen or more of my previous posts. And all of a sudden I had a sale on my Shopify site. And it happened to be somebody I knew. And it was a post that I'd done, a couple weeks before, but I tagged it. Somehow she saw it and she bought it. So I actually called her up because I knew her, because I couldn't tell how she got there, whether she just decided to go out to my website and buy it, and she said, no, I started with Facebook. I saw on Facebook, I clicked on it, went to your website. She said it was simple, easy peasy. So
Oh,
I
wow.
think
I like that.
so for those who don't have Shopify, I
Mhm.
think even without that, you can just go out and create products in Facebook as a shop.
Okay.
I mean, you just create your own shop in Facebook. Since for those of you who don't have a website, if you've got a website at all, I am sure your providers have some kind of integration with Facebook and Instagram, like Shopify. Allison, I know you've got a Shopify shop.
Yeah, but I've always saw that Facebook part, and I was just trying to say, well, let me figure out. I've been literally just creating my ads. I have a graphic background, so I create all of those, and then I'm just pushing people to my Shopify, and on each one of the pictures, separate pictures, then I literally go to my Shopify, literally go take that URL link and literally drop that right into the description so they can literally hit it, go straight to it, buy.
Yeah, but you know what I found is that post that this person bought off of 2 weeks before, I had the URL to, actually it was in the gallery, but here's where you go buy it. All they had to do is click on that. But I put that tag of the product and she clicked on it and bought it. Now I didn't ask her, well, why didn't you buy it 2 weeks ago? But for whatever reason, once it was, I don't know if it's that impulse buy that I can just click now, which I might encourage you to give it. I mean, I may never get another sale at all. It may have just been a fluke. She may have been thinking about it for 2 weeks and then just finally decided to do it, or
Pull that trigger.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
who knows. But it doesn't cost anything. It's just one more way to push people to, and it's going to your website. So
I like
they're sitting in Facebook, they click on it, they want to buy it, but now they're over in their website, and I might say, oh, what else does she have? And so, but if you don't have a website, I'm not encouraged, I mean, though I do think it might be worthwhile to consider a website. People think Shopify is expensive. I will tell you, I'm actually paying less than I was paying with my WordPress SiteGround site, because you have to consider WordPress is free, but then you almost always have to buy a theme, and on most of them, and that it's an every year price, not a one-time price. Shopify themes are, if you buy a theme, is a one-time price. You never have to pay for it again unless you buy a different theme, and you don't have to buy a theme. You can use a free theme. And then
Your hosting.
with your hosting, you not only have the hosting, but then you almost always have to pay an additional price for your SSL, an additional price for this and that, just to get a site that's secure if you want to sell on it and all that. By the time you add all that up, the lowest business plan on Shopify is a pretty good deal. Now, for somebody who wants to use a Weebly or a Wix or any of those other, I think that's what you do, Allison. I think it's
well, actually, yeah, my weird thing, and that's what this whole, what you were talking about, like 2020, that was my one thing that I ended up doing, listening to everybody and doing the workshops along with everybody, even though we're hosting. I have an existing website already, and that was all designed by scratch. My husband's a web designer, so he had designed it. I did the graphics for it, so that is what everybody had seen all these years. But I never had a place to buy because I was doing shows, and a lot of times, I have things out there. This is what's coming. Come to this show. I'll be in Kentucky. I'll be in this. I'll be there.
Yeah.
Well, now that, of course, COVID dried all that up. So a couple of the workshops, like I think the L's workshop, and she talked about Shopify. And I was like, and I said, okay. And I kept saying, is there a way for me to add a Shopify, the actual shop part, to my existing website? Because I didn't want to give that up. So we ended up adding up another page. That page actually goes to my Shopify. I did graphics so it all tied in, so you didn't feel like, oh, well, I've been pulled to another site. It still looked like it was all the same place because I did all the graphics that looked the same. And I ended up doing a couple of campaigns on Facebook, advertising on Instagram, did a couple of emails, but it was actually through the Facebook. And I'm just saying, hey guys, this is the countdown. Look at a couple of pieces. This is what's coming. I'm going to open up this part of the page this time during this day, and it'll be lasting for 14 days. And that's how it went. And then the next thing I knew, I was getting sales. It was just like, oh my gosh, because people were like, when is this one going to be on? And it kind of, that anticipation at the bottom one, Wanda, I think, because I'm getting ready to add one for, but if you hit there where it says Christmas Blitz, that was the last one. And it went crazy. And this was the latest one. And so I had ended up selling all of those out. And everything's one of a kind. So when it's gone, it's gone. They now have it set up that it'll stay sold out. You can still look at it, everything. That was really cool. So.
And that one's a Shopify?
Yeah, it's a Shopify, but it
Well,
looks.
to be clear, only her shop part is.
That
So,
only my shop part is.
so when I'm over
like,
here on her homepage, that's her personal custom website.
yeah,
But then-
so if you go to
then
collection,
she clicks- But if you click on shop, now you're in Shopify, right?
yeah, so hit collection so then they can actually see the actual site.
Oh, wow.
This is your website.
Yeah, this is my website, but I try to tie it in the colors. I try to tie in the angles. I try to, make it look like it belonged to, the same thing, so that it wouldn't feel like like someone feels like, well, it's directed me to another place. I feel awkward. And I tried my best to make it look like,
But then when I click over here on shop, now we're over in Shopify.
but it's still tied in.
Nope, no product.
I like it.
So that was the way that was the one big thing that I was like, I was able to now, because everybody can say, I can't shop unless I'm at a show, but I just felt nervous to get into that because if I'm at a show and I have to take everything, that's why I was, Etsy kind of made me nauseous about that thought of doing it that way, because if you sell it at a show and you can't get it off, or you didn't turn everything off properly, and then you're toast. So yeah, but that I'm trying to learn how to do it.
That is so excellent, Allison. I just look at your stuff. I'm stunned.
Yeah.
I can tell you. I'm
Still
stunned.
working it, and that's
How
still
you
working
organize
at it.
everything.
But I'm learning from you guys. I love what you were saying, like the, your purpose and things like that. I find that, people who know me, and if you know me from a show, then you know me. And I just try to talk in my my post, so then it feels like, well, this is how Allison usually is. And so people, it's so far I've been able to, project that. But sometimes with how the world and everything has been going on, a couple of my friends, because I, wasn't feeling well for a little, and I ended up being kind of silent for a little while. And then we moved. I used to be in an apartment for, gosh, it was 17, altogether 17 years. And we just moved during 20. And so I understand, Candace, that moving during, yeah. So it took us like a month and a half when you obviously no help and per se, and, just moving back and forth. So, we're trying to set back up, and that's why, kind of dropped off the face of the earth for a little while. But now we have, some little bit more room and things. So there was a lot of changes, but that adding that Shopify, and that's partially because of the workshops I took to actually say, yes, Allison, you really do need to be able to sell online. And I tried to look at all of these different venues, and Shopify ended up being the one that I could integrate into what I already had. See,
And that's pretty cheap.
Yeah.
That's only like $9 a month or something, right?
$29. Yeah.
$9?
Yeah,
I
if-
look at it. It is
What?
$30 per month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's $29.99.
That's when you integrate it. I mean, it's a different price if you have a whole Shopify account, but I think if you just
No,
integrate-
I mean, mine,
it's
I have a Shopify only, and with tax and everything, I get a $30 bill every
Yeah,
month.
mine says I took the lowest, it's 30.
Okay, I thought if you integrate it with an existing shop, you could get a cheaper price if you're weren't doing the whole website.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I went ahead and did the annual fee or whatever, because it's actually, you save money off the monthly one. So you might consider that at some point if you,
Oh,
when we have the money to do that. I just did it because I'm all about saving a buck somewhere along the line. I'll tell you, after years of having WordPress and fighting it all the time and constantly having to shut off features because something broke in it, and when my e-commerce broke, and then my portfolio pictures broke and all that, that was when I finally decided I had to do something different. Now I compared everything to death and analyzed it to death, and in the end I just went with Shopify because it looked like it was going to be, the prices, the prices were reasonably the same. It looked like it was going to have all the features I wanted without adding a whole lot of additional on top of it, not having to add on more fees to get some of the features I wanted. But I think Weebly, isn't that the one you use, Kim, Weebly? Yeah.
Yeah, and
Kim's
I
site's
just
pretty cool.
ended up opening. Yeah, well, I just ended up opening a WordPress website because I plan on publishing this year. But
Oh,
if I can, I'm gonna drop it and do 2 sites through Weebly. That's where I've been for years now. I understand the program, and so yeah, I like Weebly. But I say whatever
Shopify.
works. You got to have a place though where people can buy. Yeah, you got to have a place where people
I
can
now
buy
realize
buy
that.
your stuff. So
You'll either bite the dust and get a website, or at least put a shop on Facebook and Instagram. And Facebook and Instagram are more or less integrated for things like the shop. So it's not like you got to do it twice. The one thing I'm still trying to figure out is I like to use Creator Studio to post my posts for Facebook and Instagram, because I can do it on my computer. I can schedule them out for as far as I want it. I do multiple, I do posting for other pages unrelated to my business, and I can manage them all in Creator Studio, and you can do it off your phone or your computer. But the one thing now that I've got these tagged products, I can do that with Facebook in Creator Studio, but I can't do that with Instagram. So I find myself each morning after I've done a post having to go into Instagram and tag the product after it's been posted.
oh,
So that's the only frustration as far as tagging products goes. I don't know. I don't know whether Instagram will be it, but other than that, it's the same shop in both places. And it's actually a shop. So if somebody actually goes to your actual business page, they will see your shop. But if you tag it in your post, then they see it in just their feed every day. And that's more likely where you're going to get that impulse buy, because by tagging that product, I bet Weebly has some integration with Facebook too, Kim.
okay, I'll have to check into that
But even
because
without
I'm
that,
trying
even
to learn
without
more
that,
and more about.
yeah, even without that, you could just create your own shop. You're getting ready to post you're going to go out and post a picture of some new print you've made or new whatever of your art. You can just put it in your shop first, then do your post and tag it, and just create your shop as you go in
Okay.
Facebook and Instagram, if you can't find that integration. But it was nice when I finally figured out how to make that integration work. I could say, take all my products over there. And then as I add new products, I could just say, yes, I want it in Facebook. Yes, I want it in Instagram shop. And the nice thing is if it sells, it's
Oh.
sold everywhere.
Nice.
It's all integrated. So that would be the benefit of looking into the
Okay.
integration.
I was going to
I think
ask.
that's why I like Shopify, because when I was comparing Shopify with the other things, because we had our own website too, and it was, WordPress, and, things broke and I didn't understand it. And then I got frustrated and then I didn't do it. So how helpful was that site to me?
Yeah.
But I kept paying for it. But Shopify to me is more of I'm not a programmer. Oh, this is how you do it. I mean, you don't have to have that level of logic to be able to do it. But when I was comparing them, I was looking because I want to get into POD products, and there were so many more sites that were connected. I mean, is with Facebook and even with Instagram and stuff with Shopify than any other. So it was kind of like, regardless of where I want to shift my business, I am sick and tired because that WordPress was actually my second website attempt. And it's like, I'm not doing this again. I'm not paying all that money again. I'm not dealing with it again. I'm not wasting my time again. I've got to be able to do something that is so big that they're not going away and everybody understands the language. So that's why I did Shopify.
Kim, what do
Hey,
you want to say?
Candace? Yeah, what is POD?
Print on demand.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
What, maybe we should shift our discussion a little bit. Allison?
I was just gonna ask Julie something because I'm right in the same boat as you on one aspect of things where you were saying I have my business page and I have my personal, and a lot of your sales end up being on your personal as well. I have the same thing. I have grown my business page though. I have like I want to say 1,000 something, but then but not as but my personal is a lot more than my business.
Yes.
And it was just and Wanda, you're right on the money. They're controlling that side, but I am curious about something else. To everybody, is anybody part of like groups and other groups that are in the area? Are you posting some of your pictures, Julie, to some of those things periodically? Like,
Yes,
just kind of.
I belong to different. I belong to abstract group and intuitive group that all deal with paintings. So I probably belong to like 3 or 4 different artist pages or art group pages, and I'm constantly posting on there. Not as much as I do with my own, but I found some pretty cool artists on those that kind of do the same kind of thing that I do. Bless you.
Bless you.
And but I haven't sold anything on those pages. I think they're more or less kind of like like Best of Missouri Hands. You show your art and everybody talks about it.
But are there any pages that you're a part of that are like promoting artists versus just artist to artist? I know that sounds like the St. Louis St. Louis art. I'm trying to think.
No, but
critical mass, those type. So then
Wanda's gotten me on the Lee Summit Art group, and so they've been posting some of my stuff on there. But I was in Columbia on the Columbia Art League, but I'm not in that anymore. But the answer to your question is those kind not right at this moment, except for Lee Summit Art.
That might help too, because then like if you're doing a new piece or you're selling it and it's saying this is available, or just you wouldn't say per se, but say this, but pushing it out that way. I mean, some of the art groups are all well and good, but it's just like you said, it's just a whole bunch of other artists sometimes,
right?
But the ones
from
that are more organization who are there to promote artists, so then people know, hey, this work is for sale. That just might be another. I'm just trying to think of the different.
That's a good idea.
Different vehicles that you could use that you are predominantly Facebook.
But do you need to, when you get into those pages, do you need to belong to their art association for them to post, for you to be able to post anything?
Some of them are, they just say, to join, and they're not per se a outside group like the Guild or the Summit or us. It's, critical mass is for everybody. It's more of an advertising. This is a big art fair coming up. This is a new opening coming up at, Dwayne Reed Gallery. It's more that. And then sometimes, general people are looking at that and they say, oh, she's getting ready to do a show, or ooh, she's getting ready to do a online Facebook event. Like that's, I was getting ready to say, Kim is my hero, that she's, and that's my next thing I want to try to tackle for 2021, to actually do a Facebook Live. I'm terrified. But those type of things, and that's a way to push your work out there free, not per se just sharing it with the same people who are all artists.
Right.
And kind of, and then make sure you always start tagging, or like at, and then put that at the end of your post, putting something about your business page, like at, and then your business page, so then people will go to your business page, so then you're driving people more there.
That's true.
It's a little bit across. That might help. I don't, it's not like it's going to be a ton of people. I'm just trying to think of ways to help.
When you all do that, do you end up, when you're posting pictures on those type of sites, should you put
Pages.
your name across or on that photo or that painting? So when it's transferred to other places, if somebody shares it and stuff, then your name is attached to that?
That's why I usually
You also can
the-
tag it.
Yeah.
You can tag it, Julie. So when you
Yeah.
post it in Facebook and Instagram, you can tag it with your business. That's when you have to have a business page. So when
Exactly.
you post on your business page, you can tag your image with
Mhm.
your business name, your business shop name on Facebook or Instagram. And I really encourage you to do that. So that way, and Kim was the one who taught us that
Yes.
with Pinterest. So if you tag it and then somebody, saves it over to Pinterest, your tag is still with the image, right, Kim?
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I try to save, you cannot post from Facebook to Pinterest, but you can from Instagram or from
Yes.
someone's website. And so every day I try to save somebody's art post from Instagram over to my Pinterest page, because I have a board that's for living artists. And so I just think that the more places, you don't want to stretch yourself too thin. If you can only handle one or two platforms, do that and do it well. But I'm kind of experimenting with the different platforms and seeing where I get my most traffic and stuff like that. And it was interesting, the other day I went into Google Analytics, and for the last year, for all of 2020, I looked at where was the majority of my traffic coming from. And shockingly, it was Facebook. But I don't know if that was from my personal page or from my business page. It doesn't distinguish that. But, I'm doing Facebook, I'm doing Instagram, I'm doing Pinterest. I've got my website and stuff like that. So, but most of my traffic is coming from Facebook. So, 5 years from now, it might not be around, but it is right now. And so I say, take advantage of it and get your work seen, get it out there, and, try not to worry about the numbers. Like in Pinterest, 2 months ago, I guess, right before the holidays and stuff like that, my monthly followers or something like that was almost 400,000 people.
Wow.
Did I see any sales from that? No. But now with the holidays, and I'm still doing things the same, but my following has dropped to 100 and something thousand. I mean, a drastic drop, and I've done nothing different. So I don't know what's going on out there.
Wow.
And
Well,
Facebook,
Facebook, is that through Facebook
the
or
internet
Pinterest?
world,
Is
Is
that
that
Facebook
or Pinterest, Kim?
that's on Pinterest.
Okay. So I was gonna say,
That's on
we're
my
gonna
Pinterest
see-
page.
The crazy thing is on Facebook, I predict that we're going to be seeing some major changes where Facebook is concerned because of all the political things that are going on, because they're dropping, people are dropping off because they're tired of the politics, and the Facebook and Instagram and stuff are also putting some flags up. And I think it's going to change a lot of stuff coming up in the next couple of years where Facebook's concerned, which I hope it doesn't, because that's my, right now, like you said, my only platform
Right.
selling it.
So I would encourage you, Julie, to consider a website and consider at least
Yes.
dabbling in some of the others. I mean,
Because you see the
go over-
handwriting on the wall.
yeah, you can go over to
Mhm.
Instagram, but Instagram's owned by Facebook. The difference
That's
to me on Instagram, I'm all of a sudden seeing more people that I'm friends with on Facebook going to Instagram, because I think they're starting to discover there's a lot less of that, because people have to start with an image. They can't just start,
Right.
words. So
Yeah, I do
know, and you can
Instagram
post to
and
both
then
at the
switch
same
it to
time.
Facebook. I share it to Facebook.
well, and you can just post to Instagram and Facebook at the same time. You can
Mhm.
start with Instagram. You can just click that you want to go to Facebook, so you can make it easy on yourself. But
Right.
I think you may all want to start looking at some of the other platforms that right now on
Yeah,
the
because I see some changes. I think there's going to be some major changes going down the pike, but it's going to take them a while. But you
But
know,
see, I have to also look at, I mean, because I don't do Instagram or at all. And everybody's always said, oh my God, you got to do Instagram. You have to do Instagram. But when I look at my customer, my buying, purchasing customer, they're Facebook.
mhm.
So
just
that
keep watching them.
customers do other things. It's like, yeah, but that's not my customer.
Yeah,
My
just keep watching
customer,
it. It may
like
change.
it or not,
Yeah.
is still on Facebook.
But that
And-
may change, so you got to watch it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's more and more people going over to Instagram because of what Wanda said.
Yeah, I think a lot of it for me is there's only one. My butt, even though it is big enough for 2 or 3 people, it's still only one person in there. So it's like I've got to look at my time, and it's like, okay, get this Shopify, get all this, and yes, Wanda, you and I so need to talk.
Yeah, I want to be. I want her to do a workshop about that. And I really want to.
yes.
I'm sorry,
We need
Wanda,
to.
but I really. I mean, even if it's a private one, I will put. I don't care, because I really want to figure that out. Because I would love to do that. It would make a lot of my events.
Yeah, I just don't know how
lot
many people are using Shopify, and I'd have to go back and figure out how I did it, because I honestly, ladies, I just started Googling. I started going through the one beautiful thing about Shopify is there's shitloads, excuse my language, there's tons of YouTube videos and lots of, so you can just say, how do I do this in Shopify? And you immediately get the answers.
Okay.
Well, and that's actually one other reason why I went to Shopify, because it is so well known. I have a membership to Skillshare, and I found on Skillshare a 4-hour training, step by step of how to build your Shopify site. And so I was able to pull, the training on one screen, my laptop, I had this, and I literally built it step by step from this gal saying, this is what you click and this is why you're clicking it.
Oh, wow.
And this is, the sales, and this is why I do this. This is why I do this. Now click here. You want to make sure this setting is on, and this is why. And I was just blown away.
Did
And
that
so-
cost you?
Well, Skillshare, I did.
Did that workshop
I
cost
bought
you?
an annual membership. It was like $100 for the year. And so you get all the training and stuff that you want. So that's actually where I even, because they have POD connecting with Skillshare or with Shopify. And that's, it's kind of like Wanda, how much it's a powerful site. So how much can I leverage it so that I can connect everything to it? And now I've got to be able to go, I mean, I love YouTube, but I don't have the time to hunt it down. I'd rather go to Skillshare and already have full load trainings available for it. So yeah, it's like leveraging your site, and now it's all that marketing elements.
And I didn't use
It's like-
Skillshare, but I used YouTube and did the same exact thing as Candace. I actually found a couple of different YouTubes on it. And first it's just how do you set it up, and then you go, how do I do this and how do I do that? And you can have them side by side, and and walk yourself through it. And plus Shopify actually has pretty good help and
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
pretty good help. And I'm not trying to sell Shopify because I think Weebly has a big following and Wix has a big following. And the one thing I think, whatever you choose for a website, there is somebody in Best Missouri Hands that's probably using it that you can reach out to and ask questions of. And I'll have to admit, I was a little, I mean, I was in technology. I was in management. I wasn't programming for very long in my career, but WordPress is, and I was using the programmer side of WordPress, not the theme side of WordPress. Yeah, there's .org and there's .com. There's the kind of the blog and but anyway, even in Shopify yesterday, I wanted to customize my printing label that goes inside the box when you ship it off, and I wanted to add my logo, and I wanted to change something else in there. And I said, how do I do this? And
I'll be right back.
Right to the Shopify help. And it said, it told you where to go to edit the actual program, the HTML. It said, find this code, replace it with this code. So all you did was cut and paste. You didn't really have to know anything about HTML or what you're doing. And all of a sudden I had it. Just
wow.
like that. So, and I didn't go look at help. I just went to Google and said, how do I do this? And it took me to Shopify help, website. So I didn't have to go dig for that. And I'm sure Weebly has that, and all of, I think the key is some of us who opted early on to go with the more complicated, either custom websites or WordPress or whatever, without having, Allison, you're lucky. You've got a guy you live with.
Yeah.
But although here's the funny thing, I started off my first website, because this is my second, but my first website was through Homestead and I was doing it all by myself. So yeah, I totally understand. I don't even know if this Homestead still exists.
Real quick, because we know we're over and I want to respect everybody's time, but I'd love to know, personally, I would love to know what things is each of us planning to focus on all of 2021, or at least for the next couple of months. Let's make sure, one, we're holding workshops going forward that kind of fit with what you all are focusing on. And more than that, I'm just interested.
Me too.
Kim, what are you going to focus on?
Getting a book published. It's been a dream for a while to publish, and people have been after me, but with everything in life, it takes money to make money. And so the cost of publishing a book has held me back, but between my mom and my uncle and aunt, I think I'll be able to make it a reality. So I talked with my publisher the other day, and I'm gonna put out 2 books this year if it kills me. And so that's my focus. I mean, I'm working on lots of things, how to market and all that kind of stuff. I'm taking tons of workshops and everything, but yeah, I just started editing down my first book for, I'm going to do a book on Lucy, my dog, basically kind of a diary of, the first 12 weeks of the puppies and stuff, because that's been real popular. And then Elfie, if you've seen, this goofy little, I'm going to do a children's book. And so I hope to have both books published by the end of September, and that'll get my feet wet and give me courage because my big book is going to be on the heritage breed farm animals. And so when I get to that, I really want to do it right. Well, I want to do these right. I want them to be nice, giftable items and stuff like that. But so that's my focus this year.
Cool. Would you consider anything like Kickstarter or any of those other like that to kind of help with the funding?
I might. I do have Patreon, which is where folks, they pledge, $5 a month or something like that for me to help put towards my programs. And that has been a nice kind of a side income for me and stuff. But for a book, I'm going to need, $3,000 or $4,000 or something to get that published. And so Kickstarter might be, thank you for reminding me of that.
Because, to me,
that might be a good,
even if
good
all
thing
your
to do.
friends got the book for a little less than what they'd get it when it was published by doing Kickstarter, if all your friends went out and kind of did that, you might get your initial funding and you get some advertising.
Right.
I mean, even if you don't succeed
Yeah.
with it, you get the advertising of people knowing you're doing it, and then they go find you somewhere, they go find you somewhere else because they were still interested. It's worth considering. I know Molly
Right.
did well with Kickstarter, but with a book especially, because you would actually be able to say, if you
Mhm.
pledge, whatever dollar or more, you'll get one, book when it's published.
Autographed,
Whatever.
autographed,
Right.
because your book signing is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
see, I think the marketing
was
side of it. I'm sorry, you know me. I'm like, ooh,
How about you, Allison? What are you going to do in 2021?
oh,
What's your focus?
oh, geez. Slightly try to stay healthy. The one thing that I'm finding kind of odd is, and that's what I was going to ask, for people who did shows, what are you guys thinking? Because I'm watching all the things that are going on. So my thing is trying to find other vehicles. That's where that Dalcrest keeps coming in, the different legs. But I want to find my other options of what type of things I could do to still have my work out there, but not really put myself in as many shows. And that's what I've been really trying to tackle. So trying to do online campaigns. I want to start trying to do more of the exhibition shows within some of the galleries, because there I can go ahead, apply, get everything, get the pieces together, put it in a nice box, either send it or drive to, because I'm going to actually kind of pull my bubble in. I'm not going to do as many shows. I used to go out of state a lot. So I'm slowly pulling it back in, and then maybe trying to do those to help supplement what I'm lost, because I'm still not feeling as comfortable about doing the shows. And people, you guys who know me, I was, starting March, I'm at a show every other, and I'm here, I'm in Tennessee. Hey, I'm in Omaha. Hey, I'm in, Illinois. Oh, now I'm back in, but I was like Airbnb, and now I'm thinking of all of those things that, that we did in 2019,
Mhm.
and thinking to myself, my goodness, think about how many germs I was actually around. Now you start really considering it. You're going like, oh, what was I thinking? Can I just get an RV and live in that and just put myself in a bubble and then come out dripping in hand sanitizer from the top of my head to the bottom of the, and just, leave a little like sludge, like I just leave a little line as I walk around in my booth. I mean, so that trying to figure out, like you were saying, can I still reach people, still be my crazy self, as you all know, but do it online. That's why I, again, give Kim the credit on that. When I watched her do that Facebook Live, I'm terrified, but I want to try. So it's just that aspect of trying to do it and having more events online, and some things that just aren't putting myself in harm's way. And I mean, I know they keep saying, a couple of shots in the arm, but there's too many people and too many variables. And like you said, Julie, the political environment, and for me, I'm trying, I might as well, I'm trying to be more authentic and honest. But for me, as an African American, woman, there's a lot of stuff. I don't know if I want to get out there and don't know where I've gotten myself into.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I hate to throw it out there. Usually I don't do that. And, Kim will want to know me, but I'm just like, this is reality. So I really have to think these things through. So, it's just,
Yeah.
so
That's a
this
shame too,
trying
isn't
to
it?
do, yeah.
Yeah.
It really is.
Allison, have you done any of the online shows online? Because I know a lot of
Yeah,
shows.
I did. Yeah, I did okay with them. A lot of my, like, the St. Louis Art Fair went virtual. St. James went virtual. So, actually Tennessee went virtual. All of them, and so they on is it Eventi. So I've done a couple of those, and I actually had sales. The one with the St. Louis Art Fair, they did it more in-house and setting everything up, but it did pretty. It wasn't like like a show when you're really at it, but talking with other people, I said, well, Allison, no, you did really, you did well for, you know, this type of venue in where we're at. So I'm, like I said, I'm still learning. You know, it's just all a learning process, but just the way to make sure that when 2022 and that I'm still in business will be, you know, that's what I'm trying for 2021 to get to 2022 in one piece and still have the business and grow with it. And you
Mhm.
know, like, and I like the way you say with, you know, with the Lord, you know, started off with my prayers and tried to start it off that way. And but you know, be smart about it. Don't put myself in predicaments that, you know, I have to consider those things now, even
Mhm.
more so than I did these past, you know, because you know, James and I, we travel, but you know, some people, you know, they come in the booth, you know, it's like, you know, they'll go to James and they automatically are asking him about things and they don't consider that I actually did the work until, you know, it's like, you do see her picture on her bio over there. It's like, so it's, you know, that reality, but now it's a little, I got to be a little bit safer about what I do. So who's next? Go for it.
Something to think about.
Yeah. Sadly, something to think about, and a
Very.
Yes,
reality,
it is.
and a reality
Sadly.
for you, which I wish it wasn't, but
Yeah,
it is a reality.
sadly.
Natalia, what are your plans for
So the-
2021?
Oh my. So my husband will be 77 this year. So my main goal, just to keep him healthy, and me right now, I'm reading a lot of books and how to eat, about food, about exercising, everything. And lately I found very interesting book. It's published only in German place, and it's only in German, but they did translation to Russian and Ukrainian, not even English. So because I can read it, it was completely different approach to life. And it was so interesting. The name of the book is "The Lazy People Live Longer." And I said, oh, that's interesting. So the approach is, of course, how you need to eat, how you need to exercise. And basically, the main idea is, you know how we need to eat, you know how we need to exercise, but the main idea is that no stress, not kind of put something deeply inside. And for example, very interesting for me, I love to swim and I swim in very cold water, really cold. So the approach is no, it should be only everything comfortable for the body. If it's winter, in very cold winter, you need to go to warm places. It's good
Yeah,
for the body.
definitely.
It's good for the body. So
Mhm.
it's completely mind changing, completely. I'm not sure that I will take it
Mhm.
like goal, like example, but at least something to think about. Not too much shows, of course, like Ellison said. No, before we did a lot of shows, not too much shows, but I still need show. I really need to talk to people. And besides, it's all dresses. They need to try it. They need
Yeah,
to
that's
touch it.
true.
So, for
Mhm.
example, with Ellison or with Wanda, uh, with Kim, you can look and say, "Oh, I like it. I would like to have it." With my stuff, it's completely different because they need to touch it. They need to see how it fits. Yeah, exactly. So I still would like to do some shows, but it's probably will be like August or something, not earlier. And one girl, she's from Poland.
Right.
She does for me the website. So that will be my also main goal, just to do website and very interesting information about the Shopify. Very interesting because you need kind of to put it to Shopify. Yeah, that will be my goal, just to finish website completely. So yeah, like
How
that.
about
Good.
you, Julie?
That sounds good.
Well, my main goal for 2021 is to try to get juried in the photography sometime this year, hopefully. And I'm still working on my painting, trying to advance in my paintings and things like that. And it looks like I need to go back into Shopify again and relook at that. It's just, I hate letting go of that $30 a month.
Yeah, that's what stopped me.
But, you
Mhm.
know, it just is not going to hurt to sit there and try to pull it together and try it for, you know, extend out to 6 months and try it and see where it goes.
Yeah,
You know,
or
it may
or try one of the
explode.
cheaper ones. Don't go with Shopify. Try a cheaper one if you know if the money's an issue. I don't know. Remember, I thought Weebly was similar in price, but I can't. By the time you added everything in, but you could look at the Weebly and Wix and see if the price is different. You know, I just went that way because I didn't think the price was that different. It just seemed like, as Candace said, it kind of had everything. And for you want to make sure you find one that's got print on demand, because with photography, that could make a big difference.
Yeah.
The other
Yeah,
thing,
because I haven't really done a lot of selling in my photography. I mean, it's out there and I've been putting it out there. I do cards, but you know, people really like the photography, but you know, they're not buying it.
Well, what about pictures? That pictures which you did a little bit with silver, a little bit with gold, they're gorgeous.
Yeah, you know, that new style that I was starting to come out with,
It's
that I ended up selling 4 of those last month. And
probably you
so that
focus on
worked out
that.
really well. Yeah. Pricing's not, you know, I'm not pricing it up there like I should be as an artist,
Mhm.
but it's nice to pull in some money, you know, to with the way things are right now. It's you know, it's a way to get money pulled in and stuff. But I need to look at, you know, Shopify seemed to me to be the easiest one. It's just letting go of anything that, you know, since I'm not really pulling in a lot of money, but it, you know, like Kim says, you gotta, you know, spend money to make money. So
yeah, the other one you might do, it doesn't work for me because of the medium that I'm in, but for photography and painting, FASO, fine art, whatever that is, at fine art something online.
oh really?
A lot of people
Yeah.
do that, and it's got the print on demand, and I don't think it costs near as much, and you'd already get you'd get a lot of that stuff in place as far as, and I think they do some marketing as well.
Okay, I'll look that up.
So
Thanks.
that might be not only cheaper, but it might give you all the features or enough of the features to try out to start with. And I understand it's pretty easy to use, but it's really geared towards art that can be print on demand, because they'll take a cut. They're taking a cut of the print on demand, but it becomes
Right.
passive income for you, and then you can still sell the originals or whatever else. So it's something to consider.
Okay, I'll look that up.
Painters and photographers use that.
Yeah, I've never heard of that, so I'll go in there and look
I'll
that up.
share something with you guys. Last night in the Summit Art member meeting, one of our artists was just talking about passive income, and specifically she's using Society 6, and she is a plein air painter, but she takes, you know, she either scans in the artwork or takes pictures of her artwork, and she's got her art on mask, and so you have to go in and edit it, you know, to fit the size of whatever the product art is. But she says, you know, sometimes she gets a $6 check, sometimes she gets a $150 check. She said, you know, mask, bar stools, cutting boards. I mean, it's like, but apparently there's a lot of places like that out there, but Society said, and it doesn't cost you anything. The work is just in putting your, you know, getting your images out there, making sure there's size for each product you want your image to be on. And I think she's even got an arts page, and if she had a website, she would be able to link over to it. She does not, but because she's a plein air painter, she doesn't really see a need. But anyway, it might be something to consider. I'm going to go look at it, because, you know, for like some of my abstracts, I could still take an image of it and, you know, just you can just get a portion of your abstract and put
Mhm.
it out there and get some passive income that you're not, the works, you set it up and she said you can delete products anytime you want, delete any of your images if they're old and you just don't want them out there anymore. But she says she also every so often when they have a sale goes out and maybe she buys a gym bag because she's going to the gym and she's got one of her artwork and she'll put her website or whatever on it. And so she advertises herself and with, some of that stuff. So people then ask her, so she bought some of the mask and she'd be wearing them. People come up and ask, where'd you get that mask? And she could say, I'll go out to Society 6 and, you can buy a mask with my artwork on it.
Yeah.
So that's something else that I think might be good for some of you to consider that doesn't have a lot of cost. And it's not necessarily going to make us buku money, but it becomes passive.
It helps pull money in, yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
that's one reason why I like Shopify, because with Shopify, and I can't remember whether it is Fine Art America or Redbubble, but one of them you can link directly to your website so that your POD products appear on your website, but it actually is funneling through them. So when somebody clicks and says, yes, I want that cup with your design or that journal with your design, it's actually being fulfilled through the other company and you're just getting your check.
Mhm.
So yeah, but I mean, that's even with my silk, I'm taking pictures of the designs. And yeah,
Oh.
that's my POD stuff.
I can
Mhm.
a close up on some of my
Nice.
jewelry. Huh, I like that idea.
Mhm.
How about you, Candace? What's your priority for 2021?
Well, product wise, my ponchos and wraps and kimonos, those are gone. Because, people aren't working in the office having to look nice or working from home.
Yeah.
So I'm doing a big shift from the large silk to the jewelry silk. But for business wise, finishing up my Shopify, and then doing wholesale and POD is my big push for the year.
And I'll share last. I got a new logo this year. I decided to actually have a logo, and it's nothing special, but you can use it on a lot of stuff, and I think it was a good thing. And I happen to have a friend who helped do it, did it for free, because otherwise I would, because I couldn't. There's all these free generators, but they generate crap. They didn't generate what I wanted as far as a logo. And I've been trying to do everything from every workshop, not everything, but trying to implement a lot of stuff, like finally got my website up. I'm telling you, ladies, I should have had it up months ago.
Congratulations.
I analyzed to death what to go with and what to do. And so I will spend a good chunk of the next couple of months getting the rest of my art up there because it's still not all populated. And I need to fine tune my homepage, and I'll look forward to a critique because I think it needs some critique to get it a little cleaner. There's so many things you can put out there, and I've actually cleaned it up and removed some stuff, and I still think it needs a little less on the homepage or whatever. And I'm going to focus on marketplaces like Society 6. I'm just looking at them to see which ones might make sense for that little passive income. It won't really help me since I'm all originals, it won't really help me get my inventory down because I've got shitloads of art. And, I can't seem to find anywhere else to hide them in the house. I guess that's the website and and I need new business cards, which I might try to do 2 days because Vistaprint's got a sale going till Thursday.
Yes,
I need new business cards too.
I like Got Print too. I like the quality of it.
Got Print?
Got Print.
Not print.
Mm-hmm. It's you've seen it's got a nice heavy cardstock. I do a gloss, and I print both sides. So I do a black and white on one side and the pictures on the other. But I like the quality because I started off with Vistaprint, but now Vistaprint I do all my little return labels, just the return labels. But I do their little thing. But I use that on my boxes versus making a big pretty label. And it has all the info. They've got it all pretty done. And I just make sure it's in my color scheme to like my website and everything else. So, but yeah, Got Print is pretty good too. I think I ended up learning it from one of the art galleries. I did some graphic design work for one of the galleries, and they said, well, we do all of it, because I thought it was going to be business. He said, we do it through Got Print. And I was like, what's Got Print? And then they send a pack, like one of those sample packs, and I just like the quality of it. Although, how many business cards are we really giving out? I don't know how many people have galleries that represent their work. I just stopped. That was another thing. That's another aspect that you might want to think of too, if a gallery is representing your work, because a lot of times I've gotten a lot of, made sure my boxes were together and got all my business cards. But that's also, that little extra income coming in too.
Mhm.
I mean, it's, you do have to kind of play, find out their percentage, and maybe you might not want to put certain lines there if it's, not going to be a good return for you. But that's always nice when something sells at Blue Stem, and then I end up getting a couple of, some checks from them, and then Green Doors, she sends a check, and then, Ours is a Loop says a check, and it helps to bring in income, as well.
That's
Just to
on my
follow.
to-do list too, Allison. I'm not only do I want to look at a few more, I'm in a co-op now, and I'm not so sure I want to stay in a co-op where I've got to work, and I
Yeah.
haven't been working since COVID. So yeah, they've been really good. There's some artists, and they have limited hours, but it's a volunteer on who works and who doesn't. Um, and I'm not working again right now because not only COVID, but I'm going to have surgery on Thursday, and so I'm not doing anything that would, potentially give me an infection or get me, exposed. But I think I'm going to start looking at some, let's call it retail stores. I think there's
Mhm.
different lines in which
Yeah.
just approach them, with that. And I think that's why I've been holding off, because I really felt like if I had my website, I could send it, send an
Oh.
initial introduction to the, and specifically give them links to the products I thought might, be good for them. And then they can kind of look at it without, just kind of like me having to carry my work in or explain it to them, or them just say no, because they can go out, look at it and say, oh yeah, that'd be a fit or not. So that was my other reason for really, I'm holding off on doing that, because I think I might have more success approaching the retail stores with having the website. I
What
joined
kind
Columbia.
What kind of retail store, Wanda?
Well, for instance, I have a whole bunch of bottle stoppers that I call mini sculptures, or, wine bottle stoppers.
Yeah, but what
So-
kind of retail stores?
So you then go to a wine store or a bar, or something like that for those. And I do have some jewelry, so why not approach some of I don't have fine art jewelry. I don't have, I make glass and I stick a chain on, a bail and a chain on it. I'd rather just find an artist who wanted to buy all my glass, let them make jewelry out of it, because I could care less about making jewelry, but I have a ton of it. And I've actually donated 150 necklaces last year to Moxa, which is a organization that helps battered women, abused women and children. And so that when they're doing counseling, they could hand them a pendant. Because I had
wow.
ones that I was probably never going to try to sell, that, were test pieces or whatever. And it was for me, it not only was a good thing, but I have all this inventory, and it was like weighing on me. And I didn't want to just, go to
Exactly.
a thrift shop. I wanted to
Totally agree with you.
appreciate
Yeah,
it.
that's what I do, kind of give it to people.
But you can't do that with everything. But anyway, so
Wanda.
me was to look at all like vases, go into florist, and
Yeah.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
it's like
Right.
thinking about each of my different products, and trying to identify hopefully local stores, because what I found is I had a really cool wine store that was carrying my bottle stoppers and wine charm sets, but it was an hour drive each way to go up there, and she wanted you to go up once a month whether you sold or not. And I just had to go out of it, because it was just not worth it. Even though she was selling, it wasn't worth. And I driving. And I'm in the Columbia Art League. I thought I'd give it a try for a year. And I did sell a couple things in December, but it is a 2-hour drive each way to go down there. So we'll see if I keep doing it. They have 3 member shows a year where you can have your art in it. And part of my thought process was the Art in the Park art fair, which I'm not doing anything, at least just like Allison, have no plans to be involved with any art fairs, at least not for the first 9 months, not until the fall. And the problem with that is you got to go out and apply now. So I probably won't do any in 2021 or very few. Oh, that's a good idea, Allison.
Yeah, Wanda, how about your hospital gift shops? Because
That's
they always
true.
find, they always bring in unusual that you don't find everywhere type gifts.
Yeah, once COVID's over, because Summit Art does all the art in the hospital at St. Louis, all Summit Art juried artist artwork.
Mm-hmm.
We used to have space in the gift shop, and they took it away from us at some point when they, consolidated some space and what have you. And I was selling a lot there, but but right now with COVID, I wouldn't go
Yeah.
there. But,
I
yeah.
have my photography in at Swords Pharmacy here in Sedalia. It's a pharmacy that has cards and giftware and things like that inside their pharmacy. And it seems to work real well.
Yeah, there is the nice thing is you're a small town. It's a small town pharmacy.
Mm-hmm.
Here where I'm at, you got CVS and Walgreens.
No,
Not interested in artists.
they don't have any regular. Okay.
Can I are we done? Did everybody stop what they were doing?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, I need to throw out a question here. Because in one of my other groups, the question came out of how do you deal with donations, and people like, well, I set my donation, who I'm donating to at the beginning of the year, and then I'm done with it. But one of the people brought up a really good point, and it's more on a tax issue, that they no longer donate items, gift certificates, anything like that. They actually donate gift cards, because gift cards you can write it off for the full amount value of the gift card. And she said that of $500 for last year anyway, of $500 of gift cards, not one of them were cashed in. Which she was like, so for me, I got $500. I was able to write that off, and it didn't cost me anything in product.
It's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
So she goes, and I got the marketing out of it as well. So I guess that's my question of the taxability on that. If that's a legitimate,
yeah, you're best off talking to the
accurate thing, because that would be.
That's a Sue question. Sue Green's.
Yeah, that would be a good question. But
Well,
generally, I would ask your accountant. I know that when you donate items, you can only write off the cost of materials.
Yes.
Yeah, which is doing a gift card allows you to get out of that stream, because I'm not giving away a product.
Right.
I wonder if you can write it off. It's surprising to me that you can write it off if they don't cash it. So I would definitely think an accountant would be a better answer on that, because them not cashing it means it never got used. So I think it's worth asking before you do it, asking whoever does your accounting or Sue when she does something. I personally, I like to go back to like it's all good art, but some of my older art that hasn't sold, that I just it feels good to get it out of my inventory, and it feels good to give it. And I don't donate a lot because, well, this year there hasn't been a lot of places to donate to, but to me, it feels, it's a relief, because I've got this older inventory that just hasn't sold, that it's just a relief to get it, take it off my back, so to speak, and give it to somebody that, not give it, but somebody gets it that wants it. And I also, there's a artist organization here in town that does an annual auction every year. And, it's their main fundraiser. And it's amazing how many artists donate, at least a piece of art to their auction. And they do a lot for the artists that donate, free tickets to come to the silent auction, and they make it a fun time. But in general, I don't know if it exposes people to your work or not, but I think if somebody really when the silent auction or in the auction, if they really wanted your work and they didn't get it, they might be likely to,
Mhm.
contact you because of the auction aspect of it.
Mhm.
But to me, it was more about it. They're doing things for artists too. They're doing things for me. They're offering workshops, for my, membership. And so I give a piece of art. But again, I give one of the older pieces that I'm probably not going to take to a show anymore. Now, so I think again, you really ought to, oh, Kim's got a good point,
Yeah.
going to VLAA.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking about Sue.
Yeah.
Oh, everybody has to do their own personal thing on that. It'll be interesting. I suspicion that more of the nonprofits are going to look for virtual ways to hold fundraisers this year and looking for things which could be good or bad for them.
True.
I've been told that I should consider putting some of my art on eBay, so that's on my list of things to look at. Apparently, eBay is not just old things, used things. It's not just auction. You can just sell new work.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They have art.
And apparently, the younger people buy a lot off of eBay. And I was actually told this last time I had an art fair, whenever that was, by a young person who bought a pendant, or something like that from me, and said, this would sell really well on eBay. And so it's been on the back burner of my list to look into.
Poshmark, check that out too.
What was that?
Poshmark.
Poshmark.
Yeah, they have things that, like they got the clothing and that, used or other, but I found a whole bunch of jewelry artists who are actually doing their jewelry and they're actually selling on there. And I just thought it's like the Mercari, like you take your picture of something, you're selling it, but there was brand new things. And I was like, and so because they put themselves as a maker, there's a way to, basically categorize yourself. So that's just another option. I mean, I'm obviously I'm not going to put my big pieces, but maybe my smaller things that are 38, 48, I've been thinking about it.
Well, I guess
Yeah.
we've been going for an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Probably ought to
Yeah.
wrap up for today.
Time is flying, guys.
Yes.
It was great doing this.
Interesting to listen.
So we will do workshops once a month on the second Tuesday of the month. So if you want to, kind of put that in your calendar to kind of reserve it, 10 a.m. second Tuesday every month. We might do more, but that is one we're going to do. The next ones coming up are going to be, we're going to do some critiques, friendly critiques for those who want, you can just listen, or those who actually want someone to look at how you're handling Facebook, or want, a group of people to look at your Facebook.
That's a good idea.
Suggestions, and another one will be on, I think Instagram's in June. We're going to,
Yeah.
so a lot of the topics that we've been doing all of last year, we're going to hold some critiques. So there'll be a few of them probably on websites, because I think that one might be a popular one where people would like a critique of their websites. And again, it'll be a friendly one. It'll be more what you want feedback on, not just, people's opinions. So, and then in addition, Sue Greenbird's going to do a couple more workshops, and we'll do some other speakers like Chris Dahlquist or whatever throughout the year. But I think the next one coming up, hold on, I'll tell you, I believe it's a critique on, I had it up just a second ago, sorry. Facebook.
Facebook.
Mhm.
So next second Tuesday.
Yeah,
Facebook.
February 9th.
February. Yep.
So at some point we'll put out a request for who wants to have their Facebook, page, and then, all that critiqued, and then you can either have yours or just come and listen to how what everybody else is hearing about.
Yeah, something similar like we do with the photos.
Yeah, I think Sue gave us some suggestions on kind of how to go about, doing a friendly critique. So it'll be things like, do you want me to talk to you about this part of your Facebook? And then if you say yes, then people will give you views on how to improve it or what's good about it or whatever. And it's in such a way as you don't have to do anything anybody says, but you get some opinions on,
We did it last Tuesday with Kim and Molly came here. She had a lot of information about her. It was Instagram. It was not Facebook, but Instagram. Oh, really helped. Really.
Yeah. I think it'll be helpful because if nothing else, even if you don't have yours critique, listening to everyone else's critique,
Exactly.
come
Just,
away with some ideas on what you want, what you would change about yours.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That'll
All
be
right,
helpful.
ladies.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everybody.
Happy New Year. Let's do it right. And be safe.
Yeah. Be safe
You too.
and healthy.
Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.